I have been making games for about 2 years now, and I am still yet to make a devlog, so here it goes. I started off with the idea for the game that would eventually become grapplebot when I was playing Terraria. I really enjoyed the grapple mechanics in that game. Just click on a wall, shoot towards it, then you're on that wall. And I watched someone beat Terraria while only using a grappling hook. It just seemed like a fun mechanic, so I decided to make a game around it. And I had this original idea of you're a player in a little box and you're dodging projectiles by grappling around. I didn't really like that, it kind of fizzled out, and later on, a couple months down the line, I came to the idea of making a platformer with a similar concept. I started off, I had a white rectangle, I added basic collision in a tile map, I made the player able to move left and right, made the player able to fall, and set up a basic grappling system. Then I added some spikes so the player could die. I started working on the sprites. Originally I was going to have an octopus, but I really didn't like that. That led me to a little square robot, and I really like this. I'm happy with how it turned out. I added some checkpoints. Both the checkpoints and the spikes, this is the first time I've done this, were able to be placed with a tile map, so that sped up design a lot. About 1.5 hours into level design, I realized that the grappling mechanic wasn't really the best right now. You would just go against a wall, hit it, and once you hit the point you were grappled onto, you just stop and lose all momentum. It was a little tricky for me to figure out how to make this work well and smoothly, but after a little bit of tinkering, the player now keeps their momentum after grappling. So you can grapple onto a wall or grapple onto a wall and cancel it midair, and you'll keep going a little bit. And this just made the movement feel a lot smoother, and I really enjoy just playing around with this. After making this, I decided to make a new tile called the grapple wall to really play into this. And when you grappled onto that, you could go through it, but your grapple couldn't, so you kind of shoot through and keep your momentum. From this point on, just kept working on level design. I finished the first bit of level design and I thought that it wasn't hard enough, so I decided to make a second harder one. I decided that the game had gone too long without any sound effects, so I started working on those. I kind of struggled with finding exactly what fit best and what fit the feel of the game best and what just worked best. After a lot of tries, I ended up with something that I quite like. Then, after sound effects, I started working on my least favorite part of game development, making music. I made a total of 4 songs, and after all those attempts, I finally landed on one that I think was good enough for the game. Of all the music I made, I think this is one of the better ones. Then, after I had music and sound effects in place, I finished up challenge mode, and I published the game. I was happy that it was out there, but that's not where the story ends. About a day or 2 after it was published, I was watching some of my friends play the game on Discord, and they were kind of ass at the game. I remember thinking that I just made the game too hard, which was a reasonable conclusion. And I decided that to make the game easier, I would add a feature where if you hit spacebar, you go half speed and then you have more reaction time and stuff. So I started working on this, I made a nice screen effect for it, and it was all nice. I was hoping that this would make the game easier. And while I was testing it, I realized that you gained far less momentum and went far slower in the new slow mode. And this, after a little more testing, led me to the core of the issue of what was really going on. The lower your FPS was, the slower you gained acceleration and the slower you went. This was a huge issue, and that was really why the people I was watching on Discord who were on the web version were doing poorly, because they had less FPS. After that, I excitedly fixed the problem and put it up again, along with some minor changes, and that's it. The movement is significantly better than the first release, and I'm happy with where it ended up. Thanks for watching.